The word Nwyfre is a Middle Welsh word meaning sky or vigor. In Irish and Scots Gaelic, the word is Neart. In Wales, the word was usually used to refer to a windy sky. The 19th century Druid revivalist Iolo Morganwg popularized its use as a magical word. He probably misunderstood the etymology of the word, which originally had no mystical connotation. But the word Nwyfre has taken on a new meaning in some contemporary Druid circles. The way modern Druids use the word, it now means life force or life energy. To a Druid of the Black Mountain order, everything is alive, including rocks, trees, plants, animals, and even the earth herself. Everything has the potential to generate energy, and the sum total of the energy in the universe is the life force itself. This is the concept Morganwg was probably trying to get across when he chose the word Nwyfre. You might ask, how can rocks be alive? The answer is that they contain a potential life force rather than an actuated life force. Rocks become dirt. Plants feed on dirt, converting the material into life energy. Then animals eat the plants, and humans eat both the plants and the animals. Think of it this way. If you eat a piece of fruit, that fruit grew from the soil. That soil contained minerals, and those minerals came from the rocks. At what point in the digestive process does that mineral cease to be an inanimate object and become alive by being a part of you? One of the deeper mysteries of Druidry is that we're all interconnected. We're all part of the web of life, and so what we do to others, including our four-legged brothers and sisters, we do to ourselves. This is sometimes expressed in Wicca as the threefold law, or the rule of threes. What you do comes back to you threefold. In the Black Mountain Druid order, we express this principle in terms of balance. When things are out of balance, someone or something must act to restore that balance. So in part, Druidry is the act of restoring balance to the world. When a Druid talks of magic, she's referring to the idea of using Nwyfre to achieve a desired end. One of the shades of meaning of the word Nwyfre is the idea of weaving. Druids are those who weave the life force to evoke changes within themselves. These inner changes lead to a higher consciousness and a deeper connection to nature and to others, which ultimately changes the world. Are you interested in nature-centered spirituality? Are you looking to learn more about contemporary Druid practices? Did you know that the Black Mountain Druid Order has a free course in Druidry? Our foundational Druidry course covers the Wheel of the Year, basic herbalism, the Ogham alphabet, meditation, dream work, and vision seeking. It also teaches you how to begin doing your own shadow work. You'll also explore some rites of passage celebrated by our order. The foundational Druidry course is always free, and you're under no obligation to join our order if you decide that the way of the Druid is not for you. Find out more by visiting Black Mountain Druid Order's website at blackmountaindruidorder.com. During the birth tree video, you're asked to develop a relationship with your birth tree or another tree of your choosing. Once you've developed a relationship with your tree and have lived with it for a year and a day, you should know it well enough to befriend it. After your period of dedicant study of Druidry, the Bell Branch will be your first magical tool. Should you decide to walk the path of Druidry in the Black Mountain Druid Order, you will select a Bell Branch to begin your journey. The Bell Branch is not just a tool of Druidry, it's also a symbol of the journey of the Druid. It's a living record of the life of the Druid who carries it, and a reminder of the sacred journey. In ancient times, it was said to have been a silver tree branch with gold bells upon it. It is used to summon spirits of place and to chase away negative influences. The bell branch is used to open and close rituals, or to purify a person or a place on a spiritual level. The music of the bell branch unites the world of the living with the land of the dead or the other world that lies beyond. as Madeline MacLear is said to have described this land. There, the other world, is nothing but truth, and where there is neither age nor withering away, nor heaviness, nor sadness, nor jealousy, nor envy, nor pride. This land is known to the Celts as Tír na nÓg. Some Druids choose to see the other world as the realm of the unconscious mind, where all of our memories are stored, what Jung called the collective unconscious. In either case, the bell branch is used to open the gateway. Because of the bell branch's magical power to unite the realms, its music is said to remove troublesome and depressing thoughts from those who hear it. For this reason, when designing your bell branch, select bells and chimes that produce a sound that is pleasing to you. To make your own bell branch, you will first spend a year and a day developing a relationship with a tree of your choosing. Preferably this tree should be your birth tree, but you may also select another tree for which you have an affinity. It may be a tree of the Ogham, or it may be another local tree. If possible, choose a tree of the Ogham, since the Ogham is the baseline from which we learn. To select your bell branch, return to the tree with which you have developed a relationship during your year of Dedekind studies. You may be tempted to cut your bell branch from your tree before you have spent a full year with it. But remember that your patience will be rewarded if you wait. The more you know about your tree, the more powerful your bell branch will be. When you've spent a full year and a day with your tree, you may wish to have a small celebration. Invite your Druid friends if you wish, but let them know that this is a sacred occasion. To begin your ceremony, ask the tree if you may take a branch and wait for an answer. Once you've found that the tree will offer you a branch, examine the branches until you find one that's right, and cut it. It should be no longer than your forearm. When you have taken your branch, don't forget to leave an offering or a libation for the tree. Take the branch to your sacred space. Make the branch your own by carving your Druid name into it. You may wish to learn the Ogham alphabet well enough to be able to write your name on your branch. Decorate the base of your bell branch with colored ribbons if you wish. Traditionally, the bell branch is decorated with colors representing the 4 directions: black, red, yellow, and white. But this is your branch, so the colors should have meaning to you. There's no right or wrong way to adorn your branch. When you've attached ribbons to the branch, complete this rite by attaching a single bell to your branch. This bell represents your initiation into the path of Druidry. Now shake the branch and announce to the cosmos that you have begun your journey. As rites of passage occur to you on your journey, add bells to your branch to remind you of these events. A wedding, the birth of a child, or the death of a loved one can all be memorialized on your bell branch. As your branch is used for rituals and ceremonies, you will be carrying the memories of these sacred events and rites of passage with you. Each shake of the bell branch will recall these events and will carry the significance of these memories into the other world for your ancestors to hear. Here are some things to think about when you're making your bell branch. First, you will not actually cut your bell branch until you have spent a year and a day with your tree, but in the meantime, you may begin planning your bell branch ceremony. What tree will you select for your bell branch and why? If your birth tree is a plant of the Ogham that does not contain branches, for example, the reed or the vine, is there another tree that you may use? What sort of events would you choose to represent on your own bell branch? Just some things to think about as you spend a year and a day with your tree. Each character of the Ogham has a divinatory meaning. This meaning is derived from the nature of each tree or plant that the letter represents. The descriptions given in this video are brief and not necessarily all-inclusive for the meaning of each plant. Consider the divinatory descriptions here as a place to get you started exploring the Ogham. As you continue your study of trees and plants of the Ogham, you'll come to know more and more about the nature of each. This enriched knowledge will aid you in determining the deeper meanings of each Ogham rune or each Ogham few for divinatory purposes. To begin exploring these deeper meanings, consider first the gods and goddesses associated with each tree or plant. What do they represent? What is their energy? How can their archetypal energy assist you in reading the Ogham? Next, explore the healing properties of each plant. If you read an Ogham few associated with a plant, how would its healing properties influence the meaning of the reading? For example, Phagos, the beech tree, has healing properties that soothe irritations of the skin. In considering this quality for divinatory purposes, you might think about any sources of irritation in your life that might be represented by this few. Also, since beech is good for treating irritations of the skin, and the skin is on the outside of your body, you might explore the idea that this source of irritation is something that is external to you. Try exploring the various healing properties as metaphors for divinatory meanings, and your understanding of the Ogham will increase. Finally, look at the magical properties of each plant and experiment with relating these to divinatory meanings of each few. For example, heather's magical properties involve shamanism, dream work, and meditation. If you are reading this few in a divination, how would those properties influence your outcome? Could there be hidden influences at work? Are the fews telling you to increase your meditation practices in order to find an answer? Practice reading the Ogham at least once a day for your dedicant period and see what knowledge you can gain through this work. Originally, Ogham was taught using something called kennings. A kenning is an expression in Old English and Old Norse poetry with a metaphorical meaning. The word kenning means to know, and kennings usually take two words and pair them together to create a metaphorical meaning for another idea. Kennings are usually used as teaching tools. For example, a kenning for sword might be wound hoe. A modern equivalent might be bookworm for someone who reads a lot, or bean counter for a bookkeeper or an accountant. Part of the idea of kennings when it comes to the Ogham is to be able to create your own interpretations. In this sense, they're similar to Japanese koans, riddles in the form of poems that encourage the student to think for herself. Use the kennings for the Ogham to determine your own divinatory meanings for each Ogham few. The rest of this video will just give the kennings for each character of the Ogham. There are 3 versions of the Ogham kennings. These are the Briatha Oram Moraine MacMoin, the Briatha Oram Mac in Och, and the Briatha Oram Concuhulan, or Conculain. Briatha Oram just means word Ogham. The divinatory meanings used in this video will be from the Briatha Oram Conculain. Note also that the divinatory meanings given in this video are in English, and therefore might contain more than 2 words. The original kennings were in medieval Irish, and were all 2 words at the time. Adding more words to some kennings is just an artifact of translating them into English. So let's begin. For the letter B, which is Baith, birch is the beauty of the eyebrow. For the letter L, Luish, which is the rowan tree, the kenning is sustenance of cattle. For F, Farron, the alder tree, the kenning is protection of the heart. For S, Salya, the willow tree, the kenning is beginning of honey. For N, Nwyfre, a neon, ash tree is boast of beauty. H, Ua, the hawthorn, most difficult at night. D, Dwyr, the oak, the kenning is most carved of craftsmanship. T, Chenya, the holly, the kenning is one of 3 parts of a weapon. For C, Col, the hazel, the kenning is sweetest tree. For Q, Quert, the apple, the kenning is dregs of clothing. M, Muin, the vine, is the path of the voice. G, Gort, the ivy, is the sating of the multitudes. Ng, Natal, the reed or the elm in the United States, is the beginning of slaying. Z, Strafe, the blackthorn, is seeking of clouds. R, Ruish, the elder, is the glow of anger. A, Elm, the pine, is the beginning of the calling. O, Un, the gorse, is the equipment of warrior bands. U, Ura, or Ura, the heather, is the shroud of the lifeless one. E, Ea, the aspen, is brother of birch. I, Yoho, is the U, energy of an infirm person. The fifth ikemi, or the last 5 letters of the Ogham, were added at a later time, and there are therefore no traditional kennings associated with those letters. So how would you use this information in an omen reading? Let's look first at a couple of kennings. Hawthorn's kenning is most difficult at night. The hawthorn tree is known as the fairy tree. It's said that if you fall asleep under a hawthorn, you might wake up in the land of the Sidhe, the fairy realm. So drawing this view in a reading could mean that there is some energy of the fae following the person. Or it could mean that they need to take extra care at night or watch for dark energies. Let's look at another. Suppose you draw Dur, the oak, in a reading. The kenning for oak is most carved of craftsmanship. Oak is one of the hardest and most durable woods, so it's natural that it would be used in making lots of things. But oak is also the druid tree, because the oak was considered to be the king of the forest. So in that sense, most carved of craftsmanship could mean the wisest or the most knowledgeable. Drawing this view in a reading could mean that the person is about to gain great wisdom, or needs to gain great wisdom. Familiarize yourself with all of the kennings here. You might also practice them in conjunction with Finn's wheel, or Finn's window, so that you can explore how all the Ogham views are interrelated. And of course, the more you practice, the more accurate your readings will be. To begin this meditation on the meaning of the Awen, first center yourself by emptying your mind of all thoughts. Let go of the cares and the worries of the day by leaving thinking mode. Allow yourself to enter sensing mode, not thinking about anything in particular, but instead focusing only on the information your senses bring to you. When you feel centered, ground yourself by drawing energy from the earth. To do this, visualize the earth's energy as light rising up from the earth to join and mix with your own energy. When you can feel the earth's energy weaving with your own, you're grounded and ready to seek the Awen. Awen is a Welsh word roughly translated as divine inspiration. In Irish, the word for Awen is imbus, and in Scots it's Iomas. The Welsh word is Indo-European in origin and comes from the root Yule, which means to blow. In this sense, it could be seen to mean that which takes one's breath away. In other words, the Awen is that which is awe-inspiring. The Awen symbol consists of 3 descending rays. The most basic interpretation of this symbol is 3 rays of divine light descending to the earth, bringing inspiration. The Awen icon may also represent Briad's flaming arrow of poetic inspiration. The Awen is one of the most meaning-rich symbols in most Druid traditions. Sometimes the 3 rays are topped with 3 dots. These 3 dots represent the 3 drops of inspiration Taliesin received from Caridwen's Cauldron of Inspiration. These 3 drops led Taliesin to be a great bard. There are many interpretations of the symbol. The 3 lines can represent earth, sea, and air, or sun, moon, and earth, our body, mind, and spirit, our love, wisdom, and truth. There are no right or wrong interpretations. Inherent in the idea of the Awen is the concept of the union of opposing forces in balance. Each individual druid derives his or her own meaning from the symbol. Meditate for a moment on what the Awen means to you. More important than the symbol itself is the idea it represents. Awen is the concept of divine inspiration. It is the inspiration of truth. The core element of Druidry is to seek the Awen. The tools and techniques of Druidry are designed to help a Druid achieve Awen. If you've ever had a moment of inspiration when the solution to a problem seemed to come to you in a flash, you've experienced the Awen. If you've ever been particularly moved by a piece of music or a well-acted scene from a drama, you've experienced the Awen. Meditate for a time on the ways that you have experienced the Awen in your life. One of the triads of the Awen is emotional mind, rational mind, and wise mind. In emotional mind, you're reacting totally based on your emotions. If you have trouble controlling your anger or any other powerful emotion, you're in emotional mind. Rational mind, on the other hand, is totally devoid of emotion. Wise mind is a balance of rational mind and emotional mind in perfect harmony. Wise mind is the source of poetic inspiration. It is the Awen. The Awen also represents the balance between chaos and order. As you meditate, consider the forces of chaos in your own life. Chaos is the birthplace of inspiration and new ideas and creativity. How have you experienced chaos in your life? How has this chaos led you to seek new knowledge? How has chaos led you to see things in a new way? How has chaos led you to the Awen? Now consider the forces of order in your life. Order is the birthplace of stability and confidence. How have you experienced order in your own life? How has this order led you to new knowledge? How has order led you to tame the forces of chaos and to master them? How has order led you to the Awen? Now consider the forces of unity in your life. These are the forces that allow you to blend chaos and order into the perfect balance that is the Awen. These forces manifest in a sense of connection to life, to love, and to all life in the universe. How have you experienced unity in your life? How has this unity led you to seek new knowledge? How has unity led you to see things in a new way? How has unity led you to experience the Awen? Now spend some time in quiet contemplation of the unity of chaos and order that is the Awen. What does the Awen mean to you? How does the Awen manifest itself in you? As this meditation draws to a close, consider the lessons you have learned in contemplating the Awen. Allow yourself to slowly come back to this world by gradually becoming aware of your surroundings. When you feel you're ready, open your eyes, taking with you the unity that is the Awen.
Hi, this is Shinka Skane, Chief of the Black Mountain Druid Order. If you're enjoying Black Mountain Druidry, don't forget to subscribe and leave any comments or questions below. You can learn more about the Black Mountain Druid Order or become a member by visiting the website at blackmountaindruidorder.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, blessings of the ancestors on you and yours.